When you think of landscape photography, you probably imagine the work of Ansel Adams. The technical precision and compositional mastery of his images lifted the American wilderness into the utopic. But as environmentalism took hold of the public conscience in the 1970s, landscape photography began to reinvent its identity. The heroic images of Sierra Club photographers like Ansel Adams were rejected in favor of a new understanding of the natural world that showed landscapes and human activity as interminably connected rather than separate. This new way of visualizing landscapes was pioneered by 10 photographers, whose works were first displayed collectively in a small show at the Eastman House in upstate New York. The curator titled the exhibition New Topographics, Photographs of a Man-Altered Landscape. At its core, the New Topographics show challenged traditional landscape images such as those of Ansel Adams, with a new photographic environmentalism that highlighted the presence of humanity in nature. One of the New Topographics photographers, Robert Adams, of no relation to Ansel Adams, puts this interrogation of landscape imagery to work in his 1973 image, Mobile Homes, Jefferson County, Colorado. The photograph splits a Colorado environment in two. On the top, Adams presents an ominous mountainscape with moody clouds reminiscent of the classic nature photograph, while on the bottom, he captures the harsh edges of mobile homes blasted with sunlight. The contrast between the angular houses and the smooth edge of the mountainside creates an obvious conflict between humans and nature. In this case, the photograph seems to say that the Colorado landscape is not the pristine wilderness that Ansel Adams created in his pieces, but instead is a site of interaction between humans and the inhuman. As a whole, the piece works to recognize the American West as a landscape scattered with human development, rather than an untouched natural environment. Another photographer in the show, Frank Golke, latches onto this new understanding of a human-affected environment with similar deadpan aesthetics. In particular, Golke's images examine the growing isolation of the American West as a result of the automobile. In Landscape Los Angeles, 1974, Golke deconstructs the viewer's conception of landscape by depicting an empty parking lot in the foreground with only a glimpse of nature in the mountainous background. He uses the juxtaposition between the title and the subject to reposition the heroic nature photograph as a human construct. Altogether, the shot feels hollow. With centered framing, lack of human presence, and unassuming lighting, the image imbues the empty parking lot with a distant, emotional tone. Through the picture, Golke provides a pessimistic view of the modern interaction between humans and nature. He channels his frustration with a car-reliant, isolated culture into a single, well-crafted image. Side by side, these pieces reveal certain trademarks of the New Topographic aesthetic. They move from a celebration of nature to a critique of humanity's desire for expansion. At the same time, the images create a sense of despair in their subjects through straight-on angles, center framing, and blank lighting. The New Topographic show ultimately marked a pivot in the photographic depiction of nature. The photographers established a new way of looking at and capturing landscapes through irony, deadpan humor, and a straight-shooting aesthetic. Their images reflected the constant collision between non-human and human environments. Although the celebration of the natural through images continues to exist, and indeed is necessary for the causes of conservation, the landscapes of the New Topographics photographers gave a much-needed nod to the larger environmental agenda of the 1970s. They brought to the photographic image the notion that nature exists in all places, not just the wild, but also the urban, rural, and suburban, where people lived. Hello, I am back on camera this week and I am inside because it's very windy outside and you couldn't hear a single thing that I was saying. But if you like the video, please subscribe, and also a huge thanks to the people that support me on Patreon. It really helps and you guys are the best. That's about it on my front, but I will see you next week. Bye.